Bavino says in the first week they've arrested about 150 illegal migrants under Operation Catahoula Crunch.
Okay, so Operation Catahoula Crunch is really becoming a very successful mission for Border Patrol down in Louisiana. I mean, there's hardly any pushback from protesters or local leaders. We're not really seeing the tear gas, we're not seeing pepper balls, and there are many illegal immigrants being arrested. So the question is, why is this operation going so smoothly compared to the other operations?
And more than 20 law enforcement agencies, like you mentioned, across the state, including Louisiana State Police, are working with Border Patrol and supporting their immigration enforcement efforts.
So it turns out we have a lot of different police forces backing up Homeland Security as far as Operation Catahoula Crunch. But as I make this video, the New Orleans Police Department and the New Orleans City Council, New Orleans leadership, they're still not on board. That's fine, because now we're seeing operations in Baton Rouge. Remember, we've never seen something like this, where Border Patrol hops into a new area of the country and then we just see what happens. What we're seeing with this operation seems to be very successful for the Trump administration. Work with the partnerships in the area to conduct the operation and get the job done. Despite New Orleans not wanting to work with the Trump administration with Border Patrol, that's fine, because the mission continues and protesters are having a very hard time, or advocates against ICE are having a very hard time even keeping up with Border Patrol. Now, protesters are still pushing back, but they're pushing back in a different way. I'm about to show you that. But before we start the video, make sure to please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. And I think people want to see what's going on with this operation, because it's not being reported too much in the mainstream media, and I don't want you guys to miss a thing. So make sure to please like the video and share it so people can see what's going on.
Yeah, Trevor, Sella, advocates, educators, practitioners, and faith leaders all showed up in droves, and they waited for hours to voice their concerns about how Catahoula Crunch is impacting the people of Jefferson Parish. A week into Catahoula Crunch, people are bringing their thoughts and concerns to Jefferson Parish Council.
Unless, we make it clear on every level possible that they're not welcome here, I think the damage is going to compound.
Okay, so here's the reality of the situation. Protesters involved with Catahoula Crunch who want to try and stop Border Patrol, their hands are quite literally tied behind their back. Because you have the Louisiana State Police, you have sheriffs, and you have a ton of cooperation with Border Patrol. Which means if you want to be an ICE tracker and you want to follow ICE agents, you have to now deal with the federal government and the state government. So what we're seeing are protesters are just going to city council meetings with cities who are cooperating with Homeland Security. Which is why we are not really seeing any protesters advance on Homeland Security agents in situations like this. Now, this occurred in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
No, yo tengo papeles. No sé por qué puta me anda hablando.
Deme identificación. Siéntese aquí.
How are they gonna sit on the fucking mud?
Okay. You walk away, please. No problem. Come on.
I'm gonna walk away. This is my fucking... I belong here, man.
Yeah, sir. If you're filming, you probably do, but I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right, that's cool.
He's got a card he's going to show you.
Just back off. You can film, just back off. All right. Huh? Aquí, a tuyo. A tuyo. Por el phone.
Facial photos. ¿De qué piensas ser ciudadano?
Ocupo mi identificación. I'm just translating. Yeah, I'm using.
¿Dónde nació? Honduras tiene documentos para estar aquí legalmente. Porque puede, ¿sí? Tiene documentos para estar aquí legalmente. ¿Estás aquí legal o estás ilegal? It's okay.
So if you are familiar with clips like this and how these operations go down, typically you will always hear whistles, you will hear honking of the horns, you will hear people screaming, sometimes people show up with signs, and a lot of times this has to do with rapid response teams. Whenever something like this goes down, a Homeland Security operation, rapid response gets notified and people show up within minutes. But as we're seeing in a lot of these different clips within Louisiana, this is not happening. And look, I'm just trying to show you guys some evidence. It could be because there is cooperation with Homeland Security. And having cooperation with Homeland Security on all different levels, from city councilors, mayors, with the local police, it's very difficult for protesters to get involved here and try to interrupt this operation. Now, super quick, before we continue, make sure to please subscribe to my channel so I can keep you up to date with this story and others just like it. We are always covering all of the different federal operations throughout the United States, and I want to make sure you are kept up to date. Thank you guys so much, and let's continue. Now, this also happened in Baton Rouge, and again, you'll notice nobody's getting in the way. No honking, no whistles, nothing. Okay, so leave your comments down below how you feel about this. Again, on my channel, we really try to analyze all of these different federal operations, and if you are subscribed to my channel, and make sure to please subscribe, you'll notice when we talk about Chicago, the whistles, the honking, the clashing, we know that's probably going to happen. That'll probably happen in Oregon. That'll probably happen in Minnesota. Right now, we're not seeing any of this at all.
As they've received unprecedented support here from those local law enforcement agencies and also local leaders, which, as you know, this is really night and day from what we've seen in blue cities. So
okay, this is very crucial. I want you guys to remember this. I would not be surprised if the Trump administration uses this operation to show everyone, if you cooperate with Homeland Security, we can make your state safer. Instead of demonizing federal agents, instead of governors and city councils trying to stop Homeland Security, as you can see in this operation, it is working. When we all work together, we can find the criminals. I would not be surprised if the Trump administration uses this operation to show everybody it works, because the Trump administration did that, and they're doing it in Memphis, and they're doing that with Washington, D.C. You'll notice we don't hear too much about those operations because it's working, and we're not hearing too much about this operation because it's working.
Bavino says in the first week they've arrested about 150 illegal migrants under Operation Catahoula Crunch, and more than 20 law enforcement agencies, like you mentioned, across the state, including Louisiana State Police, are working with Border Patrol and supporting their immigration enforcement efforts. We even saw community support. An illegal migrant bolted after a traffic stop, ditched this car, and ran into a neighborhood near a school, sparking a manhunt. Neighbors pitched in, they checked their backyards, even showed off some Southern hospitality and offered agents gumbo. Chief Bavino says agents are able to focus on making arrests because of support from law enforcement.
This is massive, and this right here, we can make a direct correlation as to what was happening in Portland. Federal agents in Portland have literally been begging the local police, can you please work with us? We've even called you guys to come down and help us with all of the clashing and the protesters. And what was happening was a lot of federal resources have been sent to the Portland Federal Building, not to conduct deportation operations, but to conduct security operations. So over in Portland, you had ICE agents who were trying to defend a Portland building, and that's not their job. Their job is to conduct deportation operations. So this right here is crucial. Again, when local security forces work with federal agents get to do their job. And I also want you guys to think about this. That means your taxpayer money, because we're paying for this, actually is being put to good use. finding criminals who are not supposed to be here.
You know, if you look at places like California, that's Governor Newsom, Chicago, that's Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, and then in North Carolina, Governor Steen. They said some very vile and contemptible things about the Border Patrol, about ICE agents, and our allied law enforcement teams. And what that does is that empowers their weaker-minded constituents to perhaps take up violence against us when normally, otherwise, they wouldn't do that.
In a video shared by Vice President J.D. Vance on X, one construction company owner says he's seeing a difference ever since Border Patrol has been in Louisiana.
Now, this is the hardest part for the Trump administration. I am not denying that these different locations within sanctuary cities are creating this culture of violence against Homeland Security, but the Trump administration has to prove that. And the only way they can prove that is by going to areas that are not sanctuary status and areas that cooperate with the Trump administration and then show the data themselves. And that's what they're trying to achieve with these federal operations. Look, you see, we're down in Louisiana. There is some pushback, but look at all of the cooperation. Everything is going smoothly. There's no tear gas, there's no pepper balls, but then look, when we go to Chicago, it's quite the opposite. And the only way for the Trump administration to win this narrative war and try to prove to everyone that the reason why federal agents are getting attacked and the reason why federal agents are getting so much pushback, the only way the Trump administration can prove that is by having success in territories of the country where there's no pushback, there's cooperation. So look, that's why we cover these stories and we compare all of the different federal operations. The Trump administration, in my personal opinion, they are winning this narrative war when you look at the polls and you look at the support overall for deportations and not wanting crime in the country. But the Trump administration, they have to actually put this into practice and go to territories in the United States to prove to the American people they can get the job done as long as there's cooperation.
WDSU reporter Alyssa Gomez live in New Orleans as all eyes are on social media on both sides of the aisle. Alyssa.
Yeah, new reports show that federal agents are monitoring online platforms, and while some advocates are on edge about that, others are encouraging people to keep posting and organizing online.
What are you doing?
An immigration crackdown in the digital age means boots on the ground includes eyes on the web.
Whatever you put on a social media platform, you know you don't have an expectation of privacy. But precisely you do it so people know where the ICE people are.
So this is something I have noticed about a lot of my investigations. It's actually a lot easier than you think. You just have to know where to look in order to conduct these investigations and get the full perspective on a story. This is because a lot of these organizations or protesters, they're either getting donations or they're getting support through mutual aid or they're getting private support. And the only way you can really do that is if you post what's going on, or you have to post somewhere that, hey, I need people to show up to this one certain location because ICE is here. And this means you're putting it out in the public, and this means ICE is watching what's going on 24/7. We know this to be true because more and more people are actually getting charged for what they're posting on the internet, because when you look at the police reports of protesters who are being accused of violence, oftentimes in the evidence report, they will cite different types of things you were posting, either TikToks, Facebook, live streams. They will show the evidence from months of posting. So ICE is watching everything. You just have to assume they're watching everything, and we know they are.
Loyola University law professor Maria Pabon says advocacy groups have turned to social media platforms to alert others where federal agents are operating. There are also resources for Know Your Rights information.
Okay, this website right here is quite literally the mayor-elect's website. You can even see right here at the top of the page.
And organizing protests.
They didn't throw that into the news story, though.
According to the Associated Press, federal agents are now also monitoring these platforms.
This is about humanity.
Sarah Whittington of the ACLU says this tactic isn't surprising.
I think it's surveillance. I think we've seen it in other cities as well, the way that they've used both technology, the internet, and, all of the vast tools at their disposal to
So you guys can leave your comments down below if you would classify this as surveillance. I think it might shock some of you to find out that there are group pages of over 100,000 people, and they just post the locations of Homeland Security agents. I mean, not too long ago, I'm sure you heard about this, the Attorney General literally said, hey, Facebook, we're going to have problems if we keep finding these huge pages just leaking the information of agents.
Sort of see where people are and what they're doing. And I think, honestly, right now, we're on the right side of history.
Reports say Border Patrol is searching online to detect any potential threats to their agents and gauge the public's reaction to Operation Catahoula Crunch.
This right here, I do agree with. The Trump administration is notorious for being reactive to how the people react. I mean, that's how politics work. And the reason why we know this is because you guys remember the Trump administration said, hey, you know what? We might start to leave the farmers alone. Even though a lot of them are illegal immigrants, maybe we can find out a way to, get some paperwork going. And the outcry was, no, we want deportations. And President Trump never talked about it ever again. So without a doubt, this has to be true. The Trump administration pays attention to everything.
Advocates think otherwise.
I think these groups that are being monitored, from what I understand, are community groups that the most they have are whistles and maybe pots and pans, So I don't know that that's a danger, right? And that's, in my book at least, protected free speech.
The idea that they are trying to gauge the community's response from social media seems extremely disingenuous.
WDSU contacted Border Patrol to ask exactly what they're monitoring and why. We were told they do not comment on investigative means and methods.
Yeah. But what we do know is that Homeland Security did talk about hiring investigators for social media. So everyone knows this is happening. And again, we also know this because on my own channel, we have literally seen people approached by the FBI and asked, hey, did you post this? And hey, have you ever advocated for violence? We see this all the time. So without a doubt, it's happening. And of course, Border Patrol is not going to sit here and say, yeah, we go on Facebook and we look up this and look up this. So yeah, leave your comments down below how you feel about this. But without a doubt, Homeland Security is watching. We know they're watching. That's their job.
Por la cara que tengo latino, ¿va?
No, ¿qué es su nombre?
Ahorita te voy a la identificación.
¿Es su troca?
Sí.
¿Es su troca?
Claro.
Ivan.
Sí.
Ivan. ¿Es de El Salvador, usted?
Aquí está la identificación. ¿Por qué me estás tocando el carro? Te voy a la identificación.
Bueno, ya te di el nombre, ya te di toda la información.
Aquí está la información, ¿verdad?
Ok.
Pucha, pero ustedes lo agarran a uno porque somos latinos, man.
Ya te corrí las placas.
¿Y cuál es el problema? Si me corriste las placas, ¿sabes la información ahí, no?
Sí,
bueno, entonces, ¿por qué me paras?
Te pregunté, ¿eres Ivan Bonilla? Dijiste sí.
Bueno, ¿verdad? Suficiente, ahí tienes la información, ¿no?
Eres del Salvador, tienes...
Ahí está la información, ahí está la información.
No, te estoy preguntando.
Bueno, yo creo que con suficiente con eso tienes la información.
¿Tienes su tarjeta de residencia?
Now, this right here is another reason why Border Patrol is so successful in this operation. They have no pushback, but they also have a lot more jurisdiction to do what they want to do as far as these checkpoints, because Border Patrol is operating within the 100-mile border buffer zone. For those of you that are not aware, the United States has created a rule or a law that 100 miles from the edge of the United States into the United States, that is going to be the border of the United States. And since a lot of Operation Catahoula Crunch is operating within this 100-mile border buffer, this allows for Border Patrol to just set up anywhere they want and to operate these checkpoints. We didn't see too much of this over in Charlotte, North Carolina, because they were outside of that 100-mile buffer zone or border zone. Again, another element as to why this operation is going so smooth. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Now, I don't want you to get the impression that it's mission complete, everything is done. This is still a very dangerous operation, no matter where you operate as Chief Bovino or Border Patrol, but I'm just trying to show you guys when we compare this operation to others, it's going very well when you compare it to the other operations. So again, thank you so much for being here. Make sure to please subscribe, leave your comments down below so we can see how you feel about this. And again, thank you guys so much. God bless, and we'll see you all later. And please pray for peace. We do need that right now.